It means a lot to me because these are folks who've been in the trenches, who've worked hard, who talk with people throughout our state every day, and they're successful at being productive elected officials. And it means so much to me to have their support in this election because I know how tuned in they are with the needs of the state and about how to get things done. And so I'm real thrilled to be with them. We've got a schedule here where I'm going to ask Mayor Caroon to speak first, and then we'll excuse him because he's got to move on to another obligation. And after Mayor Caroon, we're going to hear from following 4 folks from our legislature. We're going to hear from leadership in the Senate and House, Pat Jones and Dave Litvak, and also from Senator Gene Davis and Representative Rebecca Chavez-Howe.
I'm proud and honored to stand before you today and show my support for my friend and colleague, Congressman Jim Matheson, and pleased today to offer my endorsement for his candidacy. I met Congressman Matheson 10 years ago at a function when he was first running for office, and I thought to myself, this man doesn't seem like a typical politician. And 10 years later, I can say the same. He seems just like an everyday person who's a champion not only for our state, but a champion for the values of the citizens of Utah. And he's the type of leader who puts people ahead of politics and has always worked in a bipartisan fashion to support the efforts of our state. And he shows a strong voice for our state as well at times when we don't have a lot of people who are standing up for the state of Utah in Congress. And he's always put Utah first. So I'm honored here today to support him and endorse him, and I want to ask all of our fellow Utahns to support Congressman Jim Matheson for his election this year. Thank you very much.
I'm also here to support our good congressman, my congressman, Jim Matheson. You know, as I travel around the state interviewing people, I commonly hear from people, whether they're even people outside of his own district, saying he's the only person, he's the only representative that has called me back. His constituent services are impeccable. And I'm proud of that. I think that's one of the things that our public is looking for, someone who will be responsive to them. And I think Jim has shown that over the years. But he's also done a number of wonderful things in Congress. He has a track record that has been proven. And I think he represents the whole state of Utah, not just the 2nd District. He has a tough line to follow because the way that things were redistricted a few years back, it's really tough to represent the people of Iron County, Washington County, Vernal, and Salt Lake City. And I think he's done a tremendous job of that and really reached out to everyone in our district.
But there's also something that I know is very important to me and very important to the constituents that I represent, many who are in Congressman Matheson's district. And that is the issue of social justice. Congressman Matheson has been a leader in social justice, voting and supporting the expansion of the federal definition of hate crimes to include sexual orientation and gender identity, and to bring much needed support, financial and otherwise, to local law enforcement and states in combating hate crimes. He was a co-sponsor of ENDA, the Employment Non-Discrimination Act, something that we are still fighting for in the state of Utah, and I am proud to have Congressman Matheson be a leader in that at the national level. And then, of course, he supports the effort to repeal the Don't Ask, Don't Tell. These are important policies.
You know, being a representative, I think as you look at all of the elected officials that are standing here today, casting those votes, the representation of people that we represent is difficult. To be on the same page with every single voter is almost an impossibility. But to stand up and do what is right for the overall good of the state and the good of this nation is important. And I think Jim Matheson has done that, and that's the reason I'm supporting Jim and encourage all to do the same.
Good morning. Again, I'm Representative Rebecca Chavez-Howe, and I'd like to address Congressman Matheson's strong record of deliberative representation. In a time when heated rhetoric guides public policy decisions across the political spectrum, from left to right, and as those of us who serve in the state legislature know, very strongly within the halls of this Capitol building. I have always found the Congressman's calm, contemplative process of reviewing legislation very comforting and refreshing. As a public official who is also process-oriented, almost to a fault according to some of my constituents, I really appreciate that Jim doesn't simply see things as black or white, right or wrong, yes or no. Those of us who participated in the process of developing public policy know that answers often lie between the two extremes. So what is it that deliberative representation brings to Jim's constituents? Well, in the area of economy and jobs, it has manifested itself in his support for the Federal Recovery Act. This has created or saved 18,000 Utah jobs, funded the construction of 125 transportation projects, and provided 900,000 Utahns with $500 million collectively in tax relief. It provided expanded unemployment benefits to more than 110,000 Utah residents.